Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I just got done with episode 9 of All American Homecoming Season 2 called Hard Places, or Hard Place. I think that's the name of the episode. There's a lot to go into in this episode. I definitely feel like this was a pretty big episode with a lot of things going on with our characters, especially because, kind of like the events of that they're back in college and they're all kind of going, they're all trying to get into different, sororities and frats and stuff like that. I feel like there's just a lot going on, and, some characters are running, for, I think it's, for, I forget what's called, like not class president, but I guess, I don't even know, student president. I really don't know the term for it, but there's just a lot going on in this episode. There was a lot going on, especially, in this episode with what's going on with, the baseball team in this episode, for Brinkston, and, and for, Damon and JR, and, what they were dealing with in this episode. They made top 25. They're on a winning streak for their new season. And pretty much, Damon, we kind of get an understanding of, he seems not too happy of the fact that they're on, a winning streak, and they made top 25. They made 25 on the dot, if I'm correct, or something like that. And pretty much, to Damon, I was like, okay, so maybe he's just that's not good enough. They should be in a better place, not just top 25 on the dot. They should be in a higher position of, in the top, or I guess they're in the top 30, but they made top 25 in top 30. But, in a way, I was like, is he upset that they could be higher in the list? What's going on with him? And, of course, he has a phone call with, his adoptive father. I forget his name on the top of my head, what his adoptive father's name is. But, he, had a conversation with him, and it was a good day for him, the nurse said, where, he could be talking, where he could be talking to Damon. And pretty much, everything seemed good. This was one of the days that, he remembered who Damon was and stuff like that. And, going into the players, JR, and it was Santiago, and I think that was it. Just JR and Santiago got sponsorships, and it was weirdly enough that not everybody got a sponsorship. It was just JR, and it was just Santiago. Santiago got a sponsorship for, a healthy food eating, healthy foods. And then I think it was JR got, sponsorship for gear. And then also we had, why can't I remember his name? What is it? The dude, Lando, there we go. And Lando got a sponsorship for tech. So they got sponsorships, but Damon weirdly didn't. I don't know if maybe he already has sponsorships. I don't know. I thought maybe that, so they had sponsorships. I thought it was weird that Damon, as far as I know, didn't have any sponsorships. And pretty much they let that get to their head, the fact that, they're on a winning game streak. But mind you, this is their first ever winning game streak. So we just see Damon getting really upset the fact that, they end up playing against, they end up winning barely against this one team. And pretty much Damon's like, why are you guys all happy and stuff like that? We played trash. Yeah, we won, but, did we win really? And of course, Santiago is a win's a win. You know what I mean? And he's like, he's like, Damon, I don't understand you. You called us trash before when we weren't winning any games and we had a losing streak. Now you're calling us trash when we're having a winning streak. I don't understand you. And it's is it really winning when you play really bad and you just win barely? I mean, that's why I get so hard on, my city's team of the Steelers. That's why I get so upset, because there's a lot of games where we win barely. We barely win, but we just win by you know what I mean? But we just win. I can't even think of the term for it, but we just get a win. But in reality, we played trash, so it was really that a win. So I understood that, and the fact of I understand where Damon is coming from. But in Marcus's head, he's told Damon this is their first ever winning game streak. You need to understand that even though you had winning game streaks, this is their first winning game streak. So you need to show them what it means to win and what it means to lose. So when they end up losing, they can be a good sportsman about it. You need to teach them. A winning game streak, but you also know that doesn't mean anything. You guys need to go into each and every game with the mindset of you might not win this game, and you need to show good sportsmanship. So that's why, Marcus really gets on Damon in this episode, which I thought, again, I didn't really like that. I feel like everybody was going after Damon, when Damon in reality I feel like is the only like character and on the baseball team especially that's all about like, look, we can't always go in with the notion that we're gonna win. We always need to give it our all. And of course the sponsorships, because it was new to JR, it was new to Lando, it was new to Santiago, they let it get in their head, and then the next game they ended up sucking. Pretty much they ended up losing, I think, if I'm correct. And then the one other game that they had at the end of the episode after Damon gave them their big pep talk, they ended up actually like winning that game. They ended up making a comeback. Or maybe like the game didn't finish and then they ended up making a comeback. I'm not quite sure. Off of, a losing, after losing their game, they came back with another, came back from their one loss. So that was what Damon was dealing with, on top of the fact of, that kind of was getting in his head. We ended up finding out it was actually the fact of he was not upset about, he was taking all the frustration out on the team is because his father and him used to talk about making top 25 all the time and making the team better and you know what I mean? And taking, every loss and learning from it and then making it into a win and giving it your all. So he kind of like put that anger into the team about how he was angry. Like, me and my dad talked about that, but then I found out, he wasn't really my dad and I was adopted and he kept that from me. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so me talking to him about that, I'm really angry because, was he really ever a good man that I was talking to? And he was giving me all this advice about making top 25 and making the best out of, on days you lose and putting it in the days you win. And he kind of put that frustration out on the team, which, like in all seriousness, the team was just, he had every right to be putting that towards the team because they were letting the winning get into their head. So I was like, okay, like you did put it in the right place because your team needed that talk. They needed it bad. Hell, even Marcus thought that. So in reality, I was like, he did put it in the right place, but I mean, in reality, he was mad at his dad. So it was like, if he wasn't mad at his dad, he wouldn't have put that anger towards the team to make the team better. So I was like, okay, it makes sense from the standpoint of, it kind of helped out at the end of the day. Yeah, he was mad at his dad, but also he was mad at his team. You know what I mean? And the team needed to hear that, like we need to be good sports about it when, when we lose. And I really did like that aspect of the episode. But going on, I want to talk about Cam real quick and what he was dealing with at KEK, trying to pledge there. And the one dude, I don't even know the dude's name, was, of course, hazing him because, that's what all people do a lot in frats and sororities. They haze, you know what I mean? They haze the pledges, you know what I mean? They give them a hard time because they had a hard time pledging and stuff. So now that they're able to dish it out, they were being rude as shit to Cam. Not just Cam, but like everybody. And pretty much, mainly pointing it towards Cam because Cam is JR's friend. So that was really messed up. I really didn't like the whole hazing and the whole like dealing with the KEK stuff in the episode and dealing with I think it was, I don't know if it's EKZ or TKZ. I forget the sorority that Simone tried tried pledging at, with, what is it? Her name is Aquila, if I'm correct. JR's ex-girlfriend. I don't like her at all. She was really rude in this episode, especially mainly to Simone, but also, in this episode, Nate is actually running I think it's for student class president or student president. I don't really know the term for it, but she's running for president of Brixton, and pretty much they backed Nico last year, TKZ or EKZ or whatever, and pretty much Aquila wanted everybody to pass out flyers and pretty much and to pretty much, rep, Nico again because, last year they rep Nico, they got what they wanted, and this year they're going to do the same thing. Regardless of what Nico stands for, they're going to do it because they got the things that they needed. And, of course, Simone was against it about passing out flyers in general because Simone knows how Nico is and how Nico screwed over Nate multiple times, and Nico's just an ass. So, it was really hard for Simone to be like, okay, I know I need to do this because I'm pledging because I really want to be in the sorority. But of course, Nate's my friend and Nate's trying to pledge too. So I don't want to betray Nate. So this was a really hard situation where I felt bad for, Simone. But I was like, in reality, if I was in this situation, I would say, F this. F the sorority. I'm not doing it. I don't care what sisters I'm going to be making here. If, the lead sister is okay with repping someone that's a jerk and isn't about everybody and pretty much only cares about himself, essentially, Nico. So I was like, nah, I would have left, especially because my friend's trying to run against this jerk. I'm not going to do this. You know what I mean? I'm going to sit, and if they don't like me sitting out, I'm leaving it. I don't really care because she was kind of forced to do it. by Aquila. She's like, you have to do this, like, regardless of what your feelings are with your friend and your friend's history with Nico, it doesn't matter. But the moment, like, on top of all that bullshit, when I found out when Nate wanted to go sit down with Aquila and talk about, like, I want you to see who I really am, not, my poster of, vote for me. I want to actually tell you who I am and why you should vote for me and not for Nico. Nico might get you stuff, but Nico's not fighting for everybody. He's only fighting for himself. He doesn't care. And, and of course, Aquila tried, saying, oh, like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? I'm busy doing something. You already know my answer. And I love when Nate's like, I would think that, since, EKZ or your sorority, you guys were so mean to me when I tried pledging, I would think that, you could at least give me this time to speak and actually tell you who I am and why you shouldn't vote for Nico. And the moment I heard Nate say that sorority treated Nate like shit, I was like, nah. I was like, no, already. Like, and the fact that Aquila must have been the person that, kind of was a part of treating Nate like shit, must have been. I was like, I'm not doing this crap. I'm like, no, like, that character's an ass. And you know what I mean? It's like on a power trip. That's the biggest problems I have with, like, frats and sororities, that people get on power trips. And mainly it's because of their prior, when they were prior pledges, and they got treated like shit. Now they're able to be like, okay, well, I got treated like shit and I had to work, I had to do all this crap to get where I am. I'm going to treat the next pledge like shit so they could treat the other person like shit. Like, stuff like that's got to stop in college. And again, I didn't go to college. So, I mean, again, some people might be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what you're talking about because, you didn't go to college and you didn't go to you didn't try pledging for a frat and you don't know what it means to have brothers and stuff like that after you're going through the hardship of all the stuff that you have to do as a pledge. I don't give a shit. If people are going to make you do that shit to so-called be your brother or sister at the end of, after they treated you like shit, they're not worth your time. At least that's the way I think it. They're not worth your time if they're willing to do some shit like that. I'm gonna be honest. There's some friendly pledge stuff that that frats and sororities make you do. As far as I'm concerned, I know one of my nephews that went through, that got into a frat and had to do a lot of messed up things. But also, one of the things he had to do was do a lightsaber duel. That's some shit I'm talking about. Something that's not gonna not gonna hurt somebody or put somebody in the hospital. You know what I mean? Or It's like, and they won't risk harm on themselves by doing shit to get into a frat. That's bullshit. So in reality, I just was not messing with that parts of the episode, even though at the end of the day, while she ended up throwing the flyers away, Simone, I forget the one girl that's in that is one of Simone's soon-to-be line sisters. I forget what her name is, but she didn't rat out Simone. And pretty much, Lando ends up telling Simone, like, maybe this, it's the fact that you're afraid to trust, your line sisters is because of what happened, because of the last experience you had of trusting, your tennis team sisters. So maybe that's the problem, you know what I mean? Even though the fact that they didn't rat you out about throwing away the flyers, they actually did the punishment that was given out because they didn't snitch on you. So clearly, they are your sisters, your real sisters, you know what I mean? So maybe, you should go talk to them, let them know, like, and give them a chance because, they clearly, showed that they're loyal and they are your sisters. So all the shit you've been going through clearly was worth it. And in reality, I was like, I don't give a shit that if all, no. I mean, yeah, they're kind of going through the struggle too, but the fact of it is I would not be down for the cause of, like, the people that are running it, that are treating the pledges like shit. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, you and the pledges might be cool and stuff, but the people running it and treating you like shit of the frat or sorority aren't worth the time. So in reality, it was like, okay, Lando's making a good point. The people there are actually, like, Simone, are looking out for Simone. They really are Simone's sisters. And, you know what I mean? She's really learned to trust them, even though she couldn't, and even though she felt like she couldn't put her guard down because of the way the sisters of her tennis team were acting and stuff like that. So I understood that. I was like, okay, it makes sense. And, you know what I mean? She ends up saying sorry. They end up becoming actual sisters, the rest of the group of the pledges. So that was all well and good. But what's going on with Thea in this episode? That stuff, about Thea getting in her head, feeling like she can't, do a serve. She feels like, I feel like I know I'm healed on the outside, but I'm having a block on my head where it feels like if I try doing this, I'm going to hurt myself again. So she had to overcome that. Thank God Marcus kind of, picked up on that and said, maybe you should go, therapy is really, important, especially for athletes. You should come to our therapy group and talk about this. So that way, you can get past your mental block. She wouldn't do it, or she did, but she wouldn't speak about it because she felt like, she was better at that. She felt like, I don't need anybody to tell me what my problem is. I can get over that. I know my own body. And, it took Marcus to, call in a world tennis champion to tell, Thea, like, it's important, you know what I mean? Even for me, that, you need to have people to help you. You need to do that. You know what I mean? It's important. And for me, what I did is that I wrote in a journal about every move I was going to make, and I got past my fears, and that's exactly what Thea ends up doing, and she ends up killing it. She got past that block because of Marcus, and because, even though Thea was afraid to ask for help, Marcus did it, and Marcus got her the help she needed, and Marcus is now her therapist. So, I really did like that because I was like, okay, if anybody, like, I feel like that's more Thea's speed, is having Marcus as the therapist, because Marcus knows what she's kind of going through. And also because, I feel like that's better than her sitting in is a better kind of like middle ground instead of her going to, a therapy session with, a therapy group pretty much talking about what's going on. So I feel like it was better. It kind of like he met her in the middle, and she actually came to him saying, okay, like, I feel like you would be the right therapist for me. Can you do that? He's like, of course I will. So I'm excited to see where all that goes, especially, next week's episode really looks crazy, which I'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to talk about going back to Cam, about Cam not getting any sleep, and pretty much Cam not having any time to be singing and stuff. Which, that really does suck that he doesn't have much time because the one dude is treating him like shit, one of the, frat dudes. And, it took, the one girl that, sings with Cam is JR's girlfriend, which again, I forget her name. I think it's, Isabel, I think, or I gotta go check. Gabrielle, okay, not Isabel. Isabel, kind of close, but Gabrielle, pretty much picked up on Cam not really having any time to, sing, and Cam kind of questioning to himself, is it worth it? Do I really want to make, a brother bond? I want these dudes to really be my brother when they treat me like this. Is it really worth it at the end of the day? Or is this the friendships I want to make with people that treat me like this? And that's the kind of like, I feel like what anybody would go through if they actually wanted to like go for a frat and realize and kind of gets treated like shit by the other frat people, and pretty much think to themselves, do I really want to have these people as my friends when they treat people like this, to get into like a frat? You know what I mean? Like, do I want to be treated like this? And of course she goes to, JR, and JR pretty much, I hated JR in this episode. I've been hating JR. His attitude sucks. And when Gabrielle pretty much told JR, like, Cam's being treated like shit, you know what I mean? He's not really having enough time to come to singing classes and stuff, and he feels like he's being kind of like, he's being like called out in front of everybody, and pretty much, and pretty much getting all of the heat, and it's going on everybody else. It's going to make everybody pretty much, hate Cam. Like, there's something going on here, and just the way that they're being treated, you might need to change some things. And he's like, oh, well, like, I had to go through all this stuff. My grandfather had to go through these things. My dad had to go through these things. Things don't need to change. If we were able to do it, he's able to do it. And I'm like, no, that's the problem, is that, it's in generations and generations of treating people like shit. I had to go through it, so I'm going to treat other people like shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's what you got to do to be one of our brothers and shit like that. It's like, no. It's like, just because you got treated like shit and now you're in the power, it doesn't mean doesn't mean you get to treat other people like shit and pass down the treating people like shit, thing. It says you don't get to do that. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like kind of JR learned from that when he told the one dude that was treating Cam like shit, telling one of his brothers, one of the KEK brothers, is like, yo, look, like, we need to change things around here. You need to stop, doing this shit to the pledges. It's not cool. And he's like, we had to do it. So, what's the problem? And he's like, I'm telling you that things need to change. And he's like, are you asking me as my when am I asking me, or are you telling me? Is like, whatever gets through your head, like, we're changing things around here. And of course Cam makes it feel like, oh, like, no, like, I don't want any special treatment. But it's like, no. He's like, no, Cam, things need to change around here. Yeah, we're gonna still like haze you because you're a pledge, but not to the extent of like what this dude's doing. It's not happening. So I mean, I don't know, in a way he kind of understood, but in reality I would not. After all the shit Cam went through, I think I would have quit instantly. If the one messed up thing that they would have started, if I was in Cam's place, in Cam's head, thinking, oh, I want to join a brotherhood, and I found out the first pledge, that the thing that they wanted me to do to get into the frat, I would have been like, fuck this. I'm not doing it. You got, this isn't the brotherhood I want to be a part of. Fuck that. So that's why I'm kind of like, if I was ever going to be in college, I would have my own like frat. And it'd be like the coolest things to join. You know what I mean? I would do that. I don't give a shit. I don't care if it's like, oh, well, you don't know, like, you're not toughing them out enough, if you're not challenging them to become your brother. Fuck that. No, it's not about that. It's about, if anything, you want to treat people, you want like the pledges to learn how to treat people right, and learn how to have fun, and learn how to spread love, positivity, you know what I mean? Like, shit like that. Not this bullshit where you're like, have to do all the crap, you know what I mean? No, not all that bullshit, because I don't find it where it's like, that's something that would make you want to be a part of something. But that's just me at the end of the day. I mean, I know there's people out there that had to do these things to get into a frat sorority. Good on you. I hope it was worth it at the end of the day. I know I wouldn't do that shit. But I don't know. It's just this episode I just was not messing with JR, and I wasn't messing with Aquila. I wasn't messing with it. That really all pissed me off. But other than that, I mean, it was a pretty damn good episode. The way they ended this episode though had me fucked up, because Damon was finally ready to be like, even though my dad even though I'm never going to answer on why he did what he did, keeping it from me that I was adopted and stuff like that, even though I won't know why he did that, I know who he is as a man, and I want to go spend some time with him while I still can. He's packing up to go to Chicago for a couple of days, and then we have Marcus coming in. I knew right away when he said he was going to go, be with his father for a bit in Chicago. I knew right away his father was going to die before he could get there. I knew it. I was like, oh shit. The moment he realizes, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I might never get those answers, but I know the time that I had, he was a good father. I want to go spend some time with him. I knew right away they were going to screw him. I knew it. I was like, he's dead. Right away when he said, I'm going to go do that, and when he told Marcus, and like he said he was going to spend some time with his dad in Chicago, I knew right away Marcus was going to say, oh, I'm sorry, son, your father's dead. I was like, fuck. I was like, God damn it. So next week's episode, which I'm going to play right here.
Well, I'm ready to fight for my spot back on the top 6.
Well, at least this couldn't get any more awkward.
I'm gonna let that game come to me. We're tired of the drama.
Don't bring Damon into this.
Oh, Damon's not in it. Oh, sweetie.
Y'all are tripping.
As you guys can see, crazy shit's going on next week's episode. We have, now that Thea's back in the game, now that Simone's able to play again, she took her leave from one game, her suspension, now she's back in. Now it's both of them going back at it again to see who makes top whatever. I think it's like top 6 or top whatever spot that they were in. They have to fight for it now, essentially. So it's back to the drama. And I don't even know. I don't even know what any of the other stuff that's going on really. But somehow Damon got involved. There were like someone said, it's not about Damon or something, or I don't even know what it's about. But I don't know how Damon got back in the middle of this. I think Thea made it back where it's like, like something about Damon. I don't know how that Damon got popped up into like, are we fighting for Damon, or it made it sound like that's what it was about or some shit. I don't know how he got roped into all that, but either way, I'm excited for next week's episode. I'm pretty damn excited. Again, as you guys know, I've not been rocking with All American. It's been weird lately. I don't know if they can turn things around before season 6. I still hope season 6 is the last season. I feel like, again, we're really, All American, I feel like in general is overstaying its welcome. I feel like after we kind of left the whole high school seasons, I think it was like season 4 was high school season. I feel like we kind of just been off on a weird ass path where the writers, I feel like, just don't care anymore a bit. And I feel like the writers are writing the characters weird. And again, no football. I don't remember the last time we actually had cool football sequences and really felt like it was all American, like how it used to feel, honestly. So, I don't know. I mean, this show is clearly giving us more tennis, clearly giving us more baseball, even though the baseball sequences aren't the best and the tennis scenes aren't really the best. I don't get that same, like, adrenaline as I would get, like, watching All American, like, the earlier seasons of All American with, like, the high school football sequences. I don't know. Either way, this show is clearly a little bit better as of right now, which again is weird to me because I felt when I was watching season 1 of All American Homecoming, I was like, damn, like it's not as good as All American, but I still like it. this show makes me like, this show did a big like step up, and it's like I like this show more than All American, which is crazy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Let's hope Homecoming can keep this momentum up and keep like improving things and making things like good in the story. But yeah, other than that, guys, yet again here, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put those notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, a part of the family, part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And yet again, guys, we're almost to 700 subscribers. Right now, I want to say we're at 600, and I think it's like 47, if I'm correct, or 37. I can't quite remember. It's one or the other, I think. But we're on our way to hitting 700 subscribers. That's what I do know, and that's the goal. So yet again here, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications, and like this video. And a lot of things are coming up, guys, here on the channel. Whether it be tonight is episode 5 or 6 of Bad Batch. So my live starts at 2 a.m. If you're interested in that, I will be on at 2 a.m. Doing a watch party for Bad Batch, Bad Batch's new episode. And also, we have tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a watch party for Wakanda Forever, starting at, I think it's at 8 o'clock. Definitely go check that out just to make sure that if that time is correct. The live is already up, so definitely put on the notifications for that so you guys don't miss that, because I can't wait to watch that movie tomorrow. I love that movie. I'm super excited. Of course, you won't see me sharing the screen, but if you want to see that, I'm planning on recording me watching Wakanda Forever to put up on Patreon. So definitely go subscribe to my Patreon. It's only $5. It's definitely worth it. You get access to my 2 movies a month reactions. You get access to my series reactions. And it's all, of course, screen sharing, unedited. So it's like me talking about like the episode, and after I'm done watching the episode or movie, I talk about what I liked about it and stuff like that, along with some behind the scenes content with, with my highest tier. I have some like, behind the scenes of a YouTuber stuff, which I'm going to start putting in soon. But yeah, if you're interested in that, definitely go check it out. It's always in my link tree to my Patreon. It takes you straight to my Patreon along with my other social medias. But yet again, guys, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.